IVM.
If you have loved ones that rely on your income, you need life insurance. But finding the best quote shouldn't take a lifetime. With Policy Genius, you could save 50% or more by comparing quotes from America's top insurers. First, head to policygenius.com. In minutes, Policy Genius will compare prices starting at as little as $1 a day. You might even be eligible to fast-track your coverage with a no-exam policy. Once you apply, the Policy Genius team handles all the paperwork and red tape. If you have any questions, their team of licensed independent experts is on hand to help. In fact, Policy Genius's award-winning service has a 5-star rating across thousands of reviews on Trustpilot and Google. Make today the day you cross life insurance off your list and get protection for your loved ones. You could save 50% or more by comparing quotes. To get covered, head to policygenius.com today.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we discuss the story of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners. Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories. Hope you're all well and gearing up for the Festival of Lights. Wish you all a very, very happy Deepavali. Before we jump on with the episode, a quick shout out to some of our listeners who have taken time out to write to us. Monica, Meenal, Sadhana, Swarupa, Deepti, Nisha, Preetham and Grishma. Thank you so much for all the love and support, guys. Also, a big thank you to Anuj Agarwal and FeedSpot for including the podcast in the list of top 15 travel podcasts in India. Thanks a lot, Anuj. Finally, it gives us a great honor to be giving the shout out to CRY, that's Child Rights and You, on the occasion of this Children's Day. To celebrate this Children's Day month, become a Yellow Fellow, a campaign by CRY to raise awareness for every child's right to a happy childhood. All you have to do is use yellow props, say like a yellow sock or a yellow tie, in creative and quirky ways, and just post your photo to Facebook or Instagram with the hashtag YellowFellow. So what are you waiting for, Yellow Fellow? Go ahead and join the movement for India's underprivileged children who need us now more than ever. As for today's episode, we take you to God's own country. So let's jump onto the episode and find out more. So with that introduction, I'd love to welcome Nishu Barolia, who blogs under the handle tannedtravelgirl.com. Nishu, thank you so much for being a part of the Musafir Stories and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to talk to you today.
It's our pleasure too. We've been following your work for a while and been blown away by a lot of the brilliant blog posts that you've done, and we were very eager to have you on the podcast as well, Nishu. But before we get into specifics, why don't you speak a little bit more about yourself and your blog and your journey?
Traveling for me was not something which I've been doing from childhood like a lot of people. For me, it was just restricted to, going to my maternal or paternal grandparents and then just coming back home and going to get to the normal life. And I was always asked to, kind of study and do good and get a good job, etc. Like most of us have been told by our parents. But, when I got my first job, I moved to Chennai and it so happened that I went on my first trip with a friend to Western Ghats, and that was the first time I saw the mountains. And I realized that I've been missing so much in life. There's so much to see, and all the beauty around us, all the nature around us, and we just hold a tiny place in the beautiful universe. And that was the beginning of my travel expedition. And from that time, I've just been going to different places, trying to see different thing every time, and figure out more terms of experiences, and not just going to a place for 2 days and coming back, or rather live the life like a local and explore the place from a local's eyes.
Thank you for that quick introduction, Nishu, and really looking forward to where you're going to take us to today. So, without much ado, why don't you tell us where you'd be taking us and our listeners to?
So, since my travel journey started from the southern part of India, let me take you to one of the very beautiful places in South India, from the God's own country, Kerala. I'm gonna take you guys to Varkala today, one of the favorite backpackers' destination in India.
Absolutely, like you said, one of the favorite backpackers' destinations, and it's also a very, I guess, a darling destination of a lot of the international tourists that fly down to India or come down to India, right?
Yeah.
So really looking forward to that. And why Varkala? Is there anything beyond just the fact that it's nestled in God's own country and has some beautiful beaches?
So it is that part of Kerala which actually has been out of travelers' eyes for some time, and now has picked up in terms of tourism, and also because the kind of beaches it has, like Kerala and the entire South India has many beautiful beaches, but I've never seen a beach with a cliff. Like you have cliff, brown and red cliff, and the beach is below that, and that was the first thing I really loved about Kerala, and that is why it's a very beautiful destination for any travelers to be in the bucket list of every travelers.
Indeed, indeed. And just in terms of orientation, right, could you also help us out in telling where Varkala is situated, even in Kerala specifically?
Yeah, sure. So, Kerala is basically divided into two parts, south and north. And while north is a lot more known for the rituals and the authentic tradition and experiences, like Thayyam in Kannur, the south part of Kerala is more in terms of beaches and backwaters. It's more about nature. So, Varkala is situated in south of Kerala, and it is very close to Trivandrum, the capital city of Kerala.
Yep, exactly. So pretty close to Trivandrum, I guess about 40-45 kilometers from there, and also the second biggest town after Trivandrum, right, in that district. So that's where it is situated geographically, and like you mentioned, a standout or a unique feature of Varkala is that I know Kerala has a lot of beautiful beaches, but these cliff beaches, right, or the cliffs on the beaches that you mentioned, the red and the brown cliffs, these are apparently called as the Varkala or the Varkali Formation, and they date back to the Cenozoic age, is what I understand, which means it's like about 66 million years ago, right, is when that era started. So really significant from a geological perspective as well. That's why Varkala has been called out and listed as a UNESCO Geoheritage Site, just as we have the other heritage sites around the world, right? This one is a Geoheritage Site. So that's why I thought it was great that it would be like a real crown in the jewel, right? We cover so many different places, but this one has a significance even from a geological perspective. So really looking forward to that. Now, also before we kind of get into the meat of the discussion, which will be focused on the beaches, obviously, quickly wanted to call out a couple of historical anecdotes about Varkala as well. Nishu, I don't know if you got a chance to kind of touch upon these, but there's a couple of really beautiful lores and legends around this. One of them, obviously, is associated to sage Narada or Narada Muni, right? He apparently it was like the one of the stories goes that Narada, who's the son of Lord Brahma, right? He kind of was approached by a few pilgrims who had sinned, and they asked for their sins to be like pardoned or washed away, or how they could do penance, and he kind of dropped his upper garment, like whatever the cloth he was wearing, he dropped that. It's called a Valkalam, apparently, and he dropped that, and the place where it fell, it's called as Varkala. So that's how it derives its name as well. So that's one of the stories. Obviously, there's a couple of other ones that's related to Lord Vishnu and Brahma as well. So really interesting stories as well that I found. I mean, obviously the beaches are beautiful, but these stories kind of make it a lot more fascinating, right? So I thought I'd just touch upon that. So yeah, that's how the name.
Yeah, in fact, I would just want to point out that Varkala is called the Banaras of South. So
Absolutely.
when you walk around the beaches in the morning, you would see that people have come from far off places, mostly in the south, to perform the last ritual for the family members, and that happens every morning, where prayers are being offered to the lost ones. And I think because of the link to the story, I also saw that people were leaving like the clothes of the lost ones in the ocean. So maybe it has a link to the story of the Lord Narad. Yeah.
Absolutely, that's what it is, and we'll touch upon that. It's referred to also as Papanasam, I think. That's one of the other names, which is basically like washing off the sins.
Yeah,
And yeah,
right.
you
You're
were
right.
right in calling out that it's called as the Kashi of the South, or Dakshin Kashi, right? Because of that virtue, I guess, where people can wash off their sins, similar to
Yes.
how you can do that in the Ganges in Varanasi or Kashi, I guess. So some brilliant historical and like other folklore and legends related to Varkala as well. I think that these are the things that make the place and the experience all the more exciting. So just wanted to touch upon them at the beginning. But yeah, jumping into the, I think the main attraction of Varkala, right, is the beaches. So would you want to kind of kick it
Yeah.
off by sharing your experience and your time spent around the beaches in Varkala?
Yeah, sure. I have gone to Varkala, I think thrice till now, and
Okay.
there are many beautiful beaches in Varkala. It's not just the cliff beach we've been talking about, but there is a stretch of around 4 hours of a stretch where you start off from the Varkala cliff, which is the main tourist spot in Varkala, and then you walk towards your right, and as you walk you come across Black Beach, where the sand is totally black, and that is one of a kind in Kerala. And then we have Odayam Beach, where
Yep.
mostly locals would be there, and the sunset from Odayam Beach is again extremely beautiful. Then if you go further, then you have Edava Beach, which is popular for if you want to experience the local fishing culture, because fishermen come in the morning and in the evening to basically do their daily fish catching and earn money out of it. And then we have the last is the Kapil beach and the Kapil lake, where you have beach on the one side and in the middle a very beautiful road, and then the other side is a lake. And so that's the end spot after the 4 hours of a walk. So if you really love, if some
You're saying
yeah.
this is definitely accessible by walking, right? One can do that.
Yeah. So one can do that. It will take like 4 to 5 hours depending on the speed and obviously how many times you stop at each of the beaches. And if somebody is not interested in doing so much of work, drive can also be taken because it's a beautiful road and the drive is also amazing.
Yeah, brilliant. And yeah, I think just touching upon that as well, right? Getting around Varkala is also, like I said, it's a very tourist-friendly spot, especially
Right.
in the past few years, I think, right? So that way, finding like a scooty or a Activa to rent or even a cycle perhaps won't be that difficult. So all of those are accessible to get around Varkala. But let's start off with the Cliff Beach or the Varkala Beach, right? Can you kind of touch upon that a little bit more in terms of your experience visiting the place and the kind of scenes you see, as well as the if it offers the other activities as well, because this is one of the more popular beaches there, right?
Right. So, for Varkala Cliff Beach, actually, when I visited that place 5 years back, I hardly saw anybody, okay? And it was just like a few, like you mentioned in the beginning, that a few international tourists were just getting suntanned and a few shops on the cliff. But I happened to visit again Varkala right before the lockdown, sometime in November, December last year. Yeah, sometime last year, and now I see a lot has changed. Like you mentioned, now it has become a tourist hub, and you have so many activities being happening at the Varkala beach. So it is one of the most awesome spots for surfing in India, actually. So starting from the beginners to pros, you would see everybody crashing the waves and people taking crash courses for surfing. Another thing you would also notice and can try is beach yoga. So I'd gone to Mysore, and Hatha yoga is very, very popular in that side of the world. But here in Varkala, you have beach yoga where, at the morning and in the evening, catching the first rays of the sun by just stretching your body. I think it's an experience in itself. So you can also try out beach yoga, which is so amazing. And apart from that, they've recently started paragliding as well, where you jump off a cliff, jump off the cliff, and do paragliding over the beach shore and see people from the top, like flying a drone. That is also amazing for all the adventure lovers. So these are some of the few popular activities actually. But in terms of giving you an idea of how the beach is, so as we discussed in the beginning, that it has a stretch of around I guess 2 kilometers of cliff or maybe more, and it is divided into two parts: South Varkala Cliff and North Varkala Cliff. So North Varkala Cliff is where a lot of homestays are there, and recently a few hostels have also opened up. But South Varkala Cliff is kind of isolated even now, and you would have like countable number of homestays or just a few places to stay. So if you're really looking for a peaceful stay, choose South Varkala Cliff to be your hub. But if you want to be between the crowd and see basically what's happening around, so I think North Cliff would be the place. But again, North Cliff has become a bit touristy with cafes and just homestays in every corner possible. So sometimes it can get too overwhelming for somebody just looking out for some peace. So that's about the kind of atmosphere you would get at the main Varkala beach. And I also want to mention that in terms of cafes and in terms of food places, so this beach is where you will have it all. Starting from you will have starting from vegan to South Indian, proper South Indian cuisine to Mediterranean, and all. So basically, any kind of food you want to try out, you would get it at the Varkala Cliff Beach.
Yeah, definitely, and especially like we kind of touched upon it earlier as well, given that it's very popular with the international tourists and travelers as well. The options for food and drink are just innumerable, right? You'll have anything you'd need. So that's brilliant, and I think either way, right? South Cliff, North Cliff, wherever you stay, there's definitely that aspect that the North Cliff might be a little crowded, but in terms of the views, it just offers some magnificent views, right? The homestays and the resorts, especially the ones that are closer with a view of the beach, they give you some brilliant views, and I think it's a great option to stay closer to these, and even along the coastline. I think Kerala isn't like short on the coastline, right? It has, I think, more than 500 kilometers on coastline. And also to quickly just touch upon, right, the cliff formations. I believe this is the only place in Kerala, right? Kerala has a number of beaches, but this is the only beach in Kerala that has these cliffs. So that way also, it kind of makes that experience very unique. Obviously, there's places like other places you might have a couple of them in Goa, like Vagator or Arambol and places like that have these cliffs, but very unique to Kerala. So definitely.
But those are very, those are very smaller ones, like maybe a few meters. But cliffs in Varkala are much higher in terms of height and in terms of the stretch also. And you can't even compare it with the cliffs you would see in Goa.
Yeah, exactly. So brilliant. And just touching upon while we are at the Varkala beach, right? We kind of spoke briefly about it also being like very significant for as a very holy place, right? People come there to give away the ashes to the sea, right, of their closed ones, and you said even clothes and stuff like that. I believe this is also a connection to the Janardhan Swami temple, right, which is not far away from the South Cliff.
So it is just few meters away from the cliff, and in fact, I was about to mention thing which I would say that everybody should do: that get up in the morning and take a walk, starting from wherever you are staying till the end of the cliff, which would be like end of the South Cliff. Because as you walk past, you would see obviously the morning workout being done by people. A lot of athletes are there in the Kerala, so you would see that, and then you would also see prayers being performed in Janardhan Swami temple, and morning aarti if you're getting up too early, and just so that whole morning walk would be an amazing thing to do.
Yeah, and quite the contrast also, right? Like you said, There's the usual early morning beachgoers, and there's also the pilgrims who come there, pay a visit to the temple and visit the beach after. So offers quite a contrast as well. And that's where the significance. It's also known as the Papanasam beach, like we mentioned early on, that it's supposed to wash away your sins. It roughly translates. Papanasam roughly translates to that same thing. So brilliant. Now, having spent some time at Varkala beach, right? Where would you suggest we go on next in terms of the beaches?
So right few minutes away from Varkala main Cliff Beach, let's just call it Cliff Beach, we have a black beach. So again, that's very special because for me, I had never seen a black beach. I'd only heard of black beaches in Ireland and how magnificent and beautiful they look. But it happened just by chance that I was walking past in that direction, and as we walked further, we saw that the sand was really black in color. And it was one of a kind experience. And if you go early in the morning over there again, you would see surfing classes happening at the black beach because it's a little further away from the main spot. So that space is kind of dedicated to surfers. Seeing a black beach is an experience in itself, I feel. So can spend some time over there, and it is further away from the crowd, and the lights are beautiful at black beach because when the golden light falls on the black beach, it shimmers and it looks amazing.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And apparently it's chemical, or this one called as thorium oxide, due to which the color of the beach is kind of black. The color of the sand is black. But yeah, again, very different beaches. Just like you said, it's not too far away from the Varkala Cliff Beach, right? And you see still, and despite of that, you see so much difference in terms of how different the sand is, and it's much less crowded. Also, that way, I think for those of us who are looking at some solitude and a quieter place, I guess Black Beach would be definitely a better option. Right, that's brilliant. And also, while we're mentioning that it's not too difficult in terms of beach hopping, right? For lack of a better word, you can literally just walk from beach to beach. What time of the year would be better? Because I know Kerala and South India can get humid during the summers, hot and humid during the summers, right? What time of the year would you suggest is a good time to visit Varkala?
Oh man, Varkala gets extremely hot in the summer season, and it can go as high as, the temperature could be as high as I think 45 degrees or something, and also humid because it is right by the sea. So the best time to go Varkala, or any part of Kerala for that matter, would be sometime starting from November till end of February. Monsoon also some people like, to see the rain, and but monsoon in Kerala are getting tough to tackle because of the global warming and flood scenes happening almost every monsoon. So the best time to visit Kerala and Varkala would be November end to February end.
Okay, brilliant. Cool. Now, just moving on from the Black Beach, right? Which one was the next one on the trail?
Oh, the next one is called Odayam Beach. And this one is, I like this one because of the sunset I saw at this beach. And it is actually, to be honest, not so different than Black Beach, just that the sand is not that black. But it is located in a place where you could just directly see, you could see the sun actually getting dipped in the ocean, the horizon. And for that, for that particular moment, I really love the Odayam Beach. And again, it is further, you need to walk further few kilometers from the Black Beach, which is possible to walk. Some places you would be crossing the town, and then you will come to the Odayam Beach. And I say that if somebody really loves sunrises and sunset as much as I do, Odayam Beach would be the perfect place to see the last light of the day.
Okay. Brilliant. And we touched upon the sunset here, but in terms of perhaps getting a drive, right? What I saw from your blog post, and by the way, it's a brilliant blog post, goes into quite a comprehensive level of detail covering of Kerala and Varkala. I loved the picture, the aerial shots of I think it was the Kapil lake and the Kapil beach, right? This is the one that's beach on one side and the lake or the estuary on the other side. That's the one, right?
Yes, that
Yeah.
is the one. So that comes after a few other beaches. So basically, see,
Okay.
Kerala, the Varkala is on the coast, so every corner is a beach.
Yeah.
And just that a few corners have been explored by people, few corners have been explored but not yet named. So maybe a traveler can go, and what they like about that place, they can just name it or take the local name. So each corner in Varkala is a beach, and each one is amazing, beautiful, offers a different kind of an experience in itself.
Yeah, wonderful. And yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the Kapil Lake and the beach, right? Because again,
Yeah.
I sound a little repetitive, but this is also very different from what we have spoken of, the two or three beaches we've
Right,
spoken of
right.
in the past few minutes, right? Would you like to call out like the unique features of the beach?
Yeah, so it's very, very different than whatever beaches we have spoken about till now, like the cliff one or the black sand beach, because Couple Beach is like you have lake, one side you have of the road you have lakes with coconut trees, and the other side is beach, and there's no end to the road. You keep driving, both the sides you have water bodies. One is the ocean, another one is a lake with the coconut trees, and that was something I had seen bodies on both sides, different places. So I mean, like, yeah, bodies on both the sides, but Couple Lake is something where you could just stop and do kayaking as well, and that makes it really a good spot for all the adventure lovers. And you can stop anywhere on the road and you would not find anything over there, because it's again far from Varkala, and just the local vehicles will be driving on the road. And stop over there, watch the coconut falling from the coconut trees, or which is the boatman taking their boats in the lake we spoke about, and just enjoy the moment.
Yeah, I think especially for all of these drone lovers, right, who love to fly drones and get beautiful aerial shots, this one is perhaps a perfect spot to go and capture some stunning visuals from the top. Like you said, it's like lined by coconut trees on one side, and there's the lake basically on one side of the road, and the other side is the beach. So that way gives some really great shots. And yeah, there is options available for people who want to indulge in either a boat ride or kayaking and stuff like that. So there is the adventure aspect of it as well if you want to go just beyond, say, walking around the
Yeah.
beach. A lot of variety in a short span, right? Like we have covered off just walking or driving. There's so much different in terms of the different kind of beaches you can cover off in Varkala. Now, quickly moving on from the beaches, was there any other beach? Yeah.
So just want to highlight. Yeah, I just want to highlight that at the Kapil Lake, in that stretch, there's a place where a railway bridge is being constructed.
Okay.
So you can also see train passing by from the middle of the lake, and so I mean, it's quite far off. You can't wave at the people, but I mean, seeing a train going through the lake, and it was good. So that can also be seen if somebody is interested in spotting a train from the lake.
Yeah, definitely all around Kerala, I think, right? These beautiful visuals and sights, it's like right out of a storybook.
So
How would
true.
you'd like to imagine visuals of a ideal town or ideal village or the countryside in a storybook? That's how that's how Kerala is, like beautiful at
Yeah.
every nook and corner, right? So there's brilliant. Any other beaches or lakes that you'd like to call out?
I mean, like, no, we have covered most of it, but there's another small beach called Edava Beach, which we discussed briefly in the start. So that beach is mostly where you will find locals and local fishermen. And
Sure.
local fishermen. So they come, and in the morning and in the evening time, you would see them catching fishes. And mostly it is where you would find locals and no tourists. And that's the unique thing about it. Like, if you'd want to see the local life and experience the Kerala way of life, I think Edava Beach would be the one you should hit.
Okay, brilliant. So that's like the offering of different kind of beaches that Varkala has for anybody who's traveling there. I think the interesting thing and the great thing is that Varkala is not just about beaches, right? Even though from the exterior it might appear that beaches kind of take away the limelight. There's a couple of other things as well that you've covered off from your experience there. Where do you want to start off with? Perhaps the important temples, the couple of important temples that Varkala has, Nishu?
Yeah, so so mostly people go to Varkala for like 2-3 days just to take a break from the city life. And honestly, 2-3 days are just kind of enough to chill by the beach, and not a lot of people do explore the other side of
Right.
Kerala, so other side of Varkala. So we spoke quite a lot about beaches, but honestly, Varkala has a couple of other things to do, which is like the temples of it. So we spoke about Janardhan Swami temple already, and then there is another temple on a small island known as Golden Island, or Ponumuthuruthu. I mean, like in the local language. So this temple is basically in the middle of a small island where you take a boat ride, a small ferry, and it will be a ride of around 20 minutes from the side of the road to reach the temple. And it's a very, very small temple, nothing so grand about it, but the history part of it is interesting, where the temple is only open for Hindus, and dedicated to Shiva and Parvati, and being told that they came to this place in terms of finding solace, and that is why it is famous between the local people, and then they go to this temple to get their wish granted.
Interesting, very interesting. And this is situated on the Golden Island, is what you said, right? It's another, I think, just off of, not too far away from Varkala, as you can take a boat ride there, like you said. And Anjango Lake, apparently, is where this is situated, and pretty popular or pretty crowded during the times of Shivratri. Otherwise, it's pretty offbeat, like you mentioned, right? Famous for that Shiva Parvati temple. And actually dates back to, I think, a few hundred years also, right? So that way it's another significant one beyond the temple we spoke about earlier, which is the Janardhan Swami temple. But Janardhan Swami temple is much, much older. Some accounts say that it's like over 2,000 years old. So
2,000 years old,
yeah, exactly. So some really important temples in Varkala as well. If you want to take a quick detour from your beach itinerary, and you want to indulge in some of the local temples and in a spiritual experience, I think it's a great opportunity. And just in terms of architecture as well, right? I find that Kerala temples, they're very different, right, from the rest of South Indian temples. If you see, they're like not as grand, but very, very elegant and simple, right? So that way it's
so
very,
you won't find you won't find huge gopuram as you would see in the Tamil Nadu or Karnataka side of temples. So smaller in size, but kind of large area, but not much of architecture or construction.
Absolutely. Very typical of the Kerala style of architecture also, I think, with those sloped roofs, and they're like usually rectangular shaped, and like I said, the sloped tiled roofs, etc. I think they're also kind of built keeping in mind the kind of weather also, right? Like heavy rains most of the time, etc. So very different, and very, very elegant, like I said. So definitely make it a point to visit, especially the Janardhan Swami temple. It's believed to be like really, really holy and significant as well, like we discussed earlier on. And the Shiva Parvati temple is another example of a smaller shrine, but quite significant. The one other little bit I found about temples was this area called as Sivagiri, right, Nishu? That's probably another spot to kind of visit if interested as well.
So that is another spot for very famous between the locals, and it is not dedicated to any specific god as such, but to one of the local gurus. And people mostly go, whoever is following that guru, so they would go to this temple. And again, it is not much away from the beach, around 5 to 6 kilometers from the main cliff beach.
Yeah, exactly. Sri Narayana Guru apparently is the social reformer and philosopher, like he's called out, and he is believed to have attained enlightenment in this place, and that's why it's pretty significant. And a lot of devotees, like you said, right, visit here. And there's apparently like a festival also that happens, where there's a lot more in terms of crowds attending. But another option, like for the spiritual ones, you can definitely check out these different temples as well. Now, quickly changing tack and moving on to a few other places of interest, right? Within Varkala, like we said, it's not just about the beaches. If you want to indulge in other things, there's a couple of other options as well. I saw that you covered off the Anjengo Fort and Lighthouse as well, right? Nishu, would you
right.
like to share that experience?
Yeah, sure. I was not expecting a fort in Varkala because I just like others. I also thought it's only about beaches, but there is a fort which is built by British called Anjengo Fort, and basically they had built it like a controlling place where they would see what is happening around the sea and kind of control the entire area. And so today, if you see in terms of construction, when we think about fort, we think about the large palaces of Rajasthan. But in South India, we don't. I mean, at least the Anjengo Fort is not of that kind, and it is today. It is like a brick structure,
Right.
from where you could just see the house and could see the seashore.
Yeah, apparently this one, right? Like you said, it's not massive like some of the other forts. Leave alone Rajasthan. Even some of the bigger forts you find further down south or even in Karnataka for that matter. This was apparently started off like a storage facility by the early Portuguese who came there, right? Obviously, they came there first, so they kind of built that initial structure. After which the East India Company, right? They kind of took over, and this is believed to be the first trading post set up by the East India Company as well. So quite significant that way, right? First trading post in Kerala, and dates back to like 1680s or something. So that way it's quite dated as well. In terms of the lighthouse, right? Did you get a chance to go up there to the lighthouse, Nishu?
So unlucky, I was unlucky. You know what happened? Lighthouse opens for the general public during the specific hour, which is 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. only.
Right.
And I was there at around 2 o'clock, and I had seen the fort, and I didn't want to wait for an hour to just go inside the lighthouse. So I could not see the lighthouse from inside, but outside, it was unlike like a very similar structure what you have in the Kovalam. But what is more, I am interesting about this lighthouse is that the structure, the stairs, it has like 250 stairs inside, and if you see the stairs from the top, it gives a brilliant, a marvelous architecture to kind of look at the stairs going all around. And the pictures, at least the pictures I've seen, are so good that they're giving me another reason to go to Varkala.
Definitely one more reason, right, to go back to Varkala. And yeah, you're right, and especially just the way it is situated, right? Like we spoke even earlier about the Kapil beach, it gives some great views. So even this lighthouse, it offers a great view of the beach on one side and the town on the other side. So if you get a chance, definitely do make it a point to pay a visit. But do watch out for the timings. It opens up only for a limited amount of time, so you might want to consider that as well while making that trip. Now the other kind of thing I found really interesting was this little tunnel called as the Varkala tunnel, right, Nishu, in the vicinity as well.
Yeah, right.
Do you want to touch upon that?
Yeah, but the sad part is that the tunnel right now is not operating, and it has not been given good care by the authorities. So right now, if you see, it has just become a place where people dump the waste. And what I had heard last was that people are kind of cleaning that space to make the tunnel again operating. So once it is operating, I'm sure it would be an amazing place to visit, because you would pass through the tunnels between the backwaters and which connects it down, and it will be a great thing to see. But for now, it is not operating, and it was constructed by British people again to kind of carry the goods.
Exactly. So built in the 1800s, late 1800s apparently, and during the time of the Rajas of Travancore, right? That's when it was built, like you said, to carry around people and goods. And back in the day, this used to connect Trivandrum and Kollam, apparently, right? Which is like not too far away. That way, I'm just hoping that last even I read that they are thinking about making this operational. So there is a big project that is set up and being led by E. Sridharan, right? The famous engineer who kind of played an important role in setting up the metro system in India, starting with the Delhi metro and everything. So they're doing this. So looks like it's in safe hands. One can only keep your fingers crossed and hope that this becomes operational as well. And yeah, just like even in terms of historical significance, right? Dating back to the 1800s and something that was, built back in the day, like it surely was an engineering marvel. So it would be great to kind of experience that and hope that it becomes operational soon. So yeah, like I said, little tidbits of history and a lot of different things also, right? How the locals were, how the influence of first the Portuguese and then the British coming here was. So all of that kind of adds to the story of Varkala, right? It's not just about the beaches, like we are telling it again and again. So those were some of the items like I found really interesting and I really enjoyed covering through your blog. And like I called out earlier as well, the blog is really comprehensive. And for somebody looking to travel to Varkala, travel to Kerala, it offers some really straightforward and simple insights into what one should consider while making a trip and making that trip worthwhile. Any other places of interest in Varkala that we could not touch upon, or you could not touch upon, and would like to touch on would like to visit in the future?
So no, mostly these places only. But I mean, I would want to give more time to the place and see the backwater side more. Because my last 2-3 trips were dedicated mostly to the beaches and to the history side of it. But backwater is something I want to explore furthermore, because I'm sure that there are many hidden spots and secret places which are just known to the locals. So I want to hire a bike and just roam around the interiors of Varkala and explore the Varkala town as well.
Brilliant. We will look out for that post in the future. Hopefully you get to make that trip, and all of us, right? Right now we are kind of falling back on virtual travel in these difficult times. But fingers crossed that the day is not far away when we can start traveling again and enjoying the bounty of nature and just the beautiful places and the history and the stories that the places in India and Kerala in this instance has to offer. In terms of listeners and readers keeping in touch with your work and reaching out to you, how would you suggest is the best way, Nishu?
Yeah, so I'm quite active on Instagram like most of the youth, I guess. So just hit me up on Instagram. I will reply to your message. Or maybe like if you want to read a specific blog on places I have visited, which is mostly Southeast Asian countries and India. So just drop me a message or a comment on any of the blogs. I will reach out to you. And I'm also there on Pinterest if some of you use Pinterest actively, so I can be connected over there as well.
Brilliant. And like we called out at the beginning, all of the links to Nishu's blog, which is standtravelgirl.com, as well as her social media handles will be there in the show notes. So that way listeners and readers can have a ready reckoner, right, to check out Nishu's work. And yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out especially the bits on Kerala. And Nishu has a brilliant post on Hampi as well, which is really comprehensive, covering off both the traditional side of Hampi as well as the hippie town of Hampi, right? So do check it out. And yeah, we look forward to your future travels and keeping in touch. Hope to have you back on the podcast very soon.
Thank you so much. I also look forward to traveling again very soon after the lockdown and talking to you guys after that.
Thank you so much, Nishu.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
That was yet another great episode of the Musafir Stories. If you guys like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Savan, Pocket Casts, Castbox, Stitcher, or any other podcasting app available on iOS or Android. Please do leave us a review on iTunes. It goes a long way in the show's discoverability. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We go by the handle The Musafir Stories. Or, if it suits you, you could email us at themusafirstories@gmail.com or visit our website at www.themusafirstories.com for more information. All of these links will be made available in the show notes section of each episode. So here's to more traveling, sharing, and inspiring. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, happy travels and goodbye.
Discount Tire has just made tire shopping easier. Their touchless experience allows you to buy tires and book your appointment online. Then when you drive in, you can stay safely inside your car as the tires are installed. Discount Tire. Let's get you taken care of.